Perfect. Thank you. It is 9:10, so I'm about to. I don't think we'll have anybody else joining in the next couple of minutes, so let me go ahead and get started. Let me know when you're recording.
I am recording.
Okay. So BoD meeting scheduled for, let's see, August 20. Oh goodness, it's not even August. Yeah, it is August 22nd. I had that right. August 22nd. Roughly 9 o'clock. Call to order. We are beginning. First things first. It looks like we do meet quorum. Perfect. Reviewing old business. I don't have a ton of information here quite yet. I just kind of wanted to go through things that we've already decided on and where we're at on that, which is pretty much at this point just the San Japan fundraiser, and the amount that we made at this event, and just kind of reviewing that. So as far as the San Japan fundraiser, that's coming up soon, and I can go ahead and honestly just let Midnight update us on that and where we're at, um, and kind of just go through basically that, and then we can pass it over to um, Josh for the event funds, if that's okay. So Midnight, whenever you're ready, I suppose.
Okay. So on Labor Day weekend, September 3rd, 4th, and 5th, the San Japan fundraiser demo recruitment thing is going to be going on that day, well, that weekend. And we still have to purchase the insurance, which I haven't done yet because I was told that we don't need to do it until like literally a day or two before. So I'm going to take care of that closer to the day. And the weapons that the weaponsmiths have been making, we're only 10 shy, and those will be completed in the next 2 weeks. And everything is set to go. We're fully staffed. We have all the information. We have the staff passes, and everything's good to go. And we are looking at hopefully making the kingdom a little over $2,000.
Sounds awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, Josh, if you want to go ahead and just roughly go over how much the event made and how we did there, that would be amazing.
So from the initial count last night, we pulled in just under $2,000 in cash, and then we have the all of the PayPal, the pre-signups, and everything like that. So it's really rough right now because I don't have any of the exact numbers or access to the PayPal account yet. But the event looks like to have made somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000, and that's profit after paying Fog.
Shoo, that sounds great. I'm super excited. We were hoping for a big turnout, but that's awesome.
And
Midnight,
finally
are
got
you
like
raising your
170.
hand because you need to speak? Go ahead, Midnight.
Okay, so amidst the money that is at the gate, there is it's kind of folded into it, but we have documentation representing all the people that paid dues at the event. So these blue wristbands were a hit. There was there was a lot of them. Like I don't know the number off my head because I was only at gate like twice, and that was like earlier in the event. But like we were running out of blue wristbands, so that's a really good thing.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I concur. A lot of people pay dues on my gate shift as well, so that'll be incorporated in there.
awesome. Yeah, I think that it's written on the back of one of the gate sign in sheets. Midnight is shaking their head yes, so I'm assuming that is where they put that. So just be on the lookout for that, and we can go through that later. Does anyone else want to bring up any other old business? Because I don't have an awesome record of everything that was discussed.
Yes, we need to pull up the meeting minutes from last meeting I sent you and just run through those real quick and approve them.
Oh, goodness. Let me go find them.
While you're
I
doing that,
think
I'm
that
pulling
just
up.
got lost.
No problem. I just sent it to you Friday, so
Okay, I'll pull that up.
while you're doing that, I'm gonna pull up the web page and see how much we actually sold through pre-buys for event registrations and the camping sites and everything, just so everybody has it.
All right.
And just a side note, not that it really matters that much, but I know as a monarch I didn't have to pay for the event. This isn't like a brag, whatever. I think during these times, until we get back up and running, maybe we should postpone Monarchs getting into the events for free, just for now.
I don't know that we should postpone it. You're welcome to
Yeah.
donate money, but I wouldn't change the Kapora just because of times.
I agree. And I mean, we did still make money. I don't think that that amount of people is going to tip the scales too much either way. And people are always free to donate. I'd hate to go through the trouble of doing all of that. I mean, I'm not saying it's not a good idea. I just feel like it's more trouble than it's worth at this point. And the monarchy is aware of like the financial situation. And certainly if they want to donate, they can.
Fair enough.
It looks like a rough estimate of about $2,800 was all done online. There's obviously a little fees associated with that, so you can assume about $2,500 all
Awesome.
done of pre-buys online.
Okay. If everyone's okay with it, I'm gonna go ahead through the meeting notes. Do I have to go through the entire thing, or just the new business as of the last meeting?
If you like, I can pull it up on my screen and
You
share
have to
it.
go through the entire thing. We have to confirm that's what happened at the meeting, and then
Okay.
done.
Ooh, y'all making me work for it this morning. All right. So call to order. Roll call. It looks like Jason, Midnight, Brandon, Sean, Dave, David, and Amy Baker were there. Quorum reached. Old business was, of course, review of previous minutes. No meeting minutes provided by Secretary Treasury report. Report provided by Treasurer Megan Evans. Report reviewed by Jason Charette. New business. Lifetime dues. Motion to vote for lifetime dues for the following Amtgard members. Noah Smith for org development, financial contributions to Amtgard. Voting for that. Do I need to go through who voted what?
Yes.
Whole thing. Got you. Um, Jason, yes. Midnight, yes. Brandon, no. Sean, yes. Dave, yes. The next person up for lifetime dues was James Taylor for orc development and financial contributions to the Celestial Kingdom. Votes were Jason, yes. Midnight, yes. Brandon, no. Sean, yes. Dave, yes. So lifetime dues will be set by KPM for both Noah and James. The following changes were going through all thing for approval if the board approves. The first thing up was technical director. The president assuming responsibilities was a problem, and then it lists all of the things that the president was at that point, I suppose, currently doing, which was website domain, Google Cloud, G Suite, e-commerce, PayPal integration. Proposed was to make a technical director role, which would be a voting member, non-elected, appointed by plurality vote of the board of directors, serves at pleasure of the board, no term window. Dismissed, could be dismissed by plurality vote of the board or resignation. The new BoD, which is now the current BoD, will discuss and begin building framework for non-voting, non-elected technical director role. In the interim, Jason Charette will continue administrative and technological duties. That is currently also where we are at for that. Senator is currently a voted position that works with Monarch, not a board member. Proposed is, oh goodness.
We actually didn't talk about this. I tabled it instead.
Oh yeah, I see tabled at the end. I was looking at that. I was like, should I bother?
Yeah, we didn't talk about it.
Perfect. Board changes at that time. Outgoing board members were Jason Charette as board director, ending. Midnight Flortiz as term as board director, ending. Sean Boatman, term as regent, board member, ending. Amy Baker, term as monarch, board member, alternate, ending. Brandon Rogers, term as Monarch member board ending. Megan Evans, resignation from board due to moving away from the kingdom. Incoming members were Midnight Flortiz, elected as board director. Bethany McCormick, elected as board director. Jason Charette, term as regent board member. Sergio Hernandez, term as Monarch board member. Brandon Rogers, term as Monarch board member alternate. One spot at that point was still open for alternates to step into. Monarch was to appoint. Voting, all positions passed unanimously and therefore assigned.
I'm sorry,
Motion.
I realize now I left out who those positions were, so I will amend this to include who got put into what position.
Sounds good.
So if we can just
And I can
talk
certainly
about
go
real
through
quick.
it if we want.
Yeah, go through it so that I can put the notes in, and then we'll have it already approved.
Sure. So just the incoming, because it looks like the outgoing. Well, no. I can go through outgoing first. So Jason Charette went from president of board of directors. Outgoing was also Midnight as membership officer. Outgoing was Sean Boatman as regent. That one was on there. Amy Baker was on there. Brandon Rogers was on there. Megan Evans' resignation from board was a resignation from the treasury position. Incoming was Midnight Flortiz, elected as membership officer again. Bethany McCormick, elected as president of the board of directors. Jason Charette was, that one's on there. Sergio's on there. And it looks like Brandon's on there. So that should be all you're missing there.
Yeah, I put Lyriel as treasurer as well.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, because we did do that meeting. Awesome. All right, and then for voting for these positions, all positions passed unanimously and were therefore assigned. We did motion to close, second to close. Closure passed, vote unanimously. Meeting adjourned. Boom. Anybody have any questions about any of that before we continue?
Are the table comments getting brought up today?
They certainly can. I unfortunately, this kind of got lost in the phrase, so to speak. And I can certainly add that to it. It looks like it was just the senator comments that we were concerned about.
Yeah, I skipped that whole discussion, but it's something we should probably talk about because I thought it was important.
Okay.
Whether senator needs to be on the BoD one way or the other.
Got you. So discussing the senator position, just to get that out of the way.
Hold on, we need a vote to approve old minutes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Sorry, I'm still sort of new to this. I appreciate any and all comments, so feel free to stop me at any time. So vote to approve old minutes. Are we just doing this in chat or with eyes? How do we normally do the online meetings for this?
Ayes.
Sounds good. All votes to approve old meeting minutes, please say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Hi, with your name, probably, since not everybody has video.
Hi, Jason Charette.
I, Bethany.
Hold on.
Okay, yeah.
Let me do the vote if you don't mind.
Sure, yeah. Absolutely.
Let's go. Board secretary will be aye. Monarch.
Aye.
Aye. Regent.
Aye.
Aye. Membership. Aye. President.
Aye.
Aye. And Zamcam.
Aye.
Prime Minister. Aye. Am I missing anybody on the voting board?
I think you just got the alts, so I think you're good.
All right. It'll pass.
Treasurer missing.
Moving on.
Sounds good. That was much less chaotic. I appreciate that. So
You're missing.
let's see. now we can go on to discussing about the senator. The senator position. The senator is currently a voted position that works with the monarch. They are not a board member. Just to kind of clarify what they do, I think that they pretty much work as a voice for the kingdom at different Circle of Monarch meetings, functions, things like that. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe that the position was up for whether or not we should add the senator as a board member, and with that, a voting or non-voting member. So we can go ahead and open up discussion for that. So anyone that has 2 cents they would like to add, feel free to do so now.
I think for the Celestial Kingdom, Sergio Hernandez sitting monarch. I think currently it the senator needs to be here just for the reason that with the senator having to post to the com about suspensions, they need to know what happened and why, essentially, or at least have the ability to be updated here from the BoD standpoint.
Yeah, I don't know that they necessarily need to be a voting member, but they should definitely be sitting on the board and part of the discussions.
Yep.
Midnight, you can go ahead. You look like you want to say something.
I always want to say something. So, I'm just gonna say my piece. It kind of really aligns with what was just said prior. I do believe that they need to be on the board because the senator is a liaison of our kingdom to the rest of Amtgard. But I don't think they necessarily need a say in what we decide to do things. They are more just the messenger, in a sense. So I'm all for having them in the BoD, just not as a voting member.
Thank you. Does anybody else have anything to say?
Yeah, my only reason against voting really is because we have a 7-person vote right now. Adding another one would make it even, which is never a good thing. I think in the future, maybe adding 2 voting spots or removing other people as votes would make sense. But in the short-term interim, so that we don't have to have major changes on the way we do votes, just bring them on as a non-voting member. Same thing with like a technical director spot.
I would say non-voting makes sense. There is a limited chance that senator could get targeted for lawsuits, and having him on the board would cover with the insurance that we usually keep, although I don't think we still have.
We have DNO, so you're absolutely right. That's a factor I didn't even consider, so that's very good call out.
And to piggyback on that, right? The whole purpose of the senator is so the monarch can get back to the basics of fun and knighting people and such. And the senator is literally the monarch, just the business side of the organization. So it doesn't make sense that you don't have the whole entity on the board. The monarch already has to vote on the BoD. The senator is just the eyes and ears.
Now, on the other side of this coin, if you talk to Crix, he doesn't necessarily want to be part of this discussion, but that's just Crix. Uh, I personally think it should be mandatory. He should be in the discussions and at least know where the business aspect is coming from.
Yeah, for the insurance reasons, I think that the senator and probably the GMR should be non-voting members of the BoD, because senators going to have to distribute disciplinary information, and the GMR is going to have to be involved in those discussions, and those are things that can trigger potential lawsuits.
Yep, absolutely. I had not considered the GMR aspect. With them being a vote on the banning, they are a target.
Yeah, I'll definitely actually add the GMR discussion to things that we need to talk about before the next meeting, because I agree that that's certainly something that we should consider. Also, on the senator front, I do agree with pretty much everyone else that I think it would be very helpful and very useful to have him on the board. I don't feel like it's necessary at this point in time to make it a voting position, but I do believe he should be on the board. Is there anyone else that wants to speak on this before we do anything more?
I mean, both position changes would require an all thing so that we can adjust the corpora. So, if nothing else, we need to approve that we will create a all thing submission to move forward with recommending to the populace changes of the corpora that would include adding these two as non-voting members to the board.
Sounds good. Okay. I will go ahead and add that to my notes to discuss with the BoD for sure, and then we can go ahead and vote for adding at least the senator at this point in time to the corpora as a member of the BoD that is non-voting. Does that sound good?
I would suggest just do them both in the same proposal.
Okay, I mean, we can certainly table it again for right this second, or if everybody's pretty much in agreement that we want to add the GMR at this point in time, we can go ahead and just approve both and go ahead and make a vote to draft a corpora change for the next all thing.
I motion to vote.
Sounds good. Is that for both positions?
Seconded.
Yes, it's
Sounds
seconded.
good. Okay, awesome. So we can go ahead and move forward with voting to add the Guildmaster of Reeves as well as the Senator position, both as Board of Director members that are non-voting. Do you want to go ahead and do the vote again since that worked well last time?
I can. 1 second, please.
Absolutely.
Monarch,
Yes, sir. Oh,
Yeah,
aye.
your
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Regent,
Aye.
Prime Minister,
Aye.
President,
Aye.
membership. Aye. Treasurer, which is open.
Aye.
Secretary will be aye. Who am I missing?
I think you got everyone that time.
All right, it'll all pass in unanimously. That was for Senator, correct? Yes. So now we will be doing for GMR.
I thought that was for both.
It was for both.
Yeah, it was for both.
Correct.
Oh, y'all lumped them together. Y'all don't want to vote separately.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
All right, then it passes.
Thank you. All right, awesome. So we are past that. Let me go on to the other things we need to discuss.
Hey, real quick,
yeah.
I'm missing who was the second alternate from the last round BoD meeting. I can't remember who.
It should be me and Cy.
Okay, I didn't realize you picked up alternate at the event. Thank you.
Let me look.
Wait,
at
hold on.
quotes.
For this, Jason, are you asking alternate from Coronation?
Yes.
Or the alternate we're at right now?
The
Because
alternate from Coronation.
I don't remember that at all.
I don't.
That was Hopper that I replaced as the alternate.
Thank you.
No, she wasn't there in the very
No.
beginning.
I think that we just decided that the monarch was to appoint. That is the notes that I had. So at that point, I don't think we had it.
Okay, thank you. I've got it now.
Correct.
You're welcome. No problem. Anybody else have anything else before I go on to the next meeting discussion?
I will send you an updated meeting notes from last time that we've already approved. So I'll work with you to share it to the website.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. So moving forward, we are still in the process of making an official corpora list of duties for technical officer. I have a draft if anybody's interested, but at this point in time, we don't have anything set in stone to vote, to move to vote at the all thing, but that is something that will be happening at the next all thing for sure. In the meantime, Jason Torque is still our kind of temporary fix for that, which we appreciate. Thank you very much. We need to discuss whether or not we need to make a designated key holder besides our membership officer for our storage unit, whether that's something we want to do. So that's our next discussion point.
How many copies of the key do we have?
Currently, right now, we only have one.
Half a mile. Take exit 580
Sorry.
for Texas 13 Loop North.
We only have the one key that I have passed on to Fog for use for this event, and that key will be returned to me once all items are placed back in the storage unit, which would be taken care of, I believe, during this week.
Take exit
Having
580.
if we've only got one key, having an additional designated key holder doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but
We only have
given
the one
what
key
we
because I lost mine and had to go all the way to Austin to pick up the spare that Gundar was holding on to. So I will be duplicating this key, so we still will have two keys. So one will stay with membership officer, and it should as it goes around, and then another person, I believe, should be designated. And whether that's either someone who is in close proximity, someone who is on the board that is in close enough proximity, or just another board member that has ability for travel that could make that kind of a journey as needed if needed.
My thoughts are we have a set list of folks that are able to call and talk to the storage company on our behalf. Every one of those people should have keys, and there should be a spare key with the membership officer specifically to give to autocrats to be able to access storage.
I like that.
Amy brought up the point in the chat that we have in the past had two sets of keys. I personally think that it would be better just to not have so many keys. I think it would be better to have two sets and have the membership officer have both, and that way one stays with the membership officer no matter what, and then one can go with autocrats to get the things that they need. Because yes, it would be more convenient to have people all over the place that have keys, but it's also more dangerous, right? And the fact that we used to have two keys and we only have one now is a testament to that.
I agree with the exception that the president should have a third special key.
I mean, I think that's reasonable. I just don't want like a ton of keys floating around. Is that how many people do we have currently on the list that can access the storage unit or call the storage unit on the BoD's behalf?
That's another discussion we need to talk about because that list should be cold.
Yeah, we need to at least put it in the BoD notes for the BoD page where we put like our check signers and things like that, so that we have a record of it and autocrats have that at their disposal. And I'll certainly make a note of that to add that to that list. So it seems like Midnight said that there are currently 4 people that are available to talk to the storage units. I don't
No.
feel like
we can have up to 4.
Oh, we can have up to 4. How many do we currently have, though?
2.
2. Okay, so that's
Who's still in Gundar?
I'm sorry. I thought myself, Amy, and you were on there, which I want off. But
Yeah, because you mentioned you wanted off.
Did they pull me off?
I believe so. I can verify and check that once I get home on a computer.
In 2 miles, take exit 574 for I-37 North, US 281 North toward Johnson City.
Sorry. Yeah, I can look into that when I get home and get on a computer, but that will not be in time for the end of this meeting.
Is one of the people who still has access to the storage unit in Gundar, because I think he just paid for it.
Gundar requested that we give him permission, but I don't think that ever happened. So
I don't think it was ever done because it went through our check signing for the payment, and I believe it's, and I did mention to remove Jason, but I don't know if that had been done yet. I also have made in a call to change the access codes due to the security breach regarding my access. And then I still haven't heard back from them, but I will be making a call open of day on Monday to solidify all of that.
Sounds good. Go ahead. Did someone have something to add? I think I cut somebody off.
I think you were cutting yourself off as an echo coming across Midnight's phone.
Ha. Okay, fair enough. I was like, it sounds kind of like me. Anyway, so to recap for all of that chaos that just happened, we currently have Midnight for sure on that list. We have me for sure on that list. Going forward, we will not have Jason on that list. Going forward, are we or are we not keeping Amy on that list? No.
I don't think we should.
Yeah.
I don't think we should have anybody that's not a board member on the list to access our wares.
Absolutely. It
I
really
think
should be
that's
membership
fair.
and president only. And you both should have keys, and membership
Yeah.
should have a spare key to give to autocrats.
I think that that is a good choice going forward. So if we want to go ahead and vote on that so that it is for the future always going to be the membership officer, the president, and one spare key that stays with the membership officer to give to autocrats, we can go ahead and vote on that now, unless anybody has anything else that they would like to add for that.
I motion to vote as laid out. Midnight seconds.
Sounds good. Our wonderful secretary, can you please do that vote?
1 second, please. Let me catch up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Monarch,
Aye.
Regent,
Aye.
Prime Minister,
Aye.
President,
Sorry, I was messing with my buttons. Aye.
membership. Membership is yes. Treasurers, open. Secretary.
Aye.
Yeah, treasurer's not open. JK is treasurer.
Oh, y'all rectified that yesterday?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I wasn't in that meeting. I'm sorry, guys. That will pass unanimously.
Sounds great. Passed. So going forward, the next thing that we need to discuss is that we still have all of the old blank checks and pay stubs that Chase Bank gave us. We no longer use Chase Bank. So one of the things that we need to discuss is shredding those old documents that we are no longer going to use. I think that that's pretty much it on that. So if anybody has anything to add to that, it seems pretty cut and dry. Go ahead.
The check stubs and checks can absolutely be shredded. Just save any stubs and receipts from old payments that were made out. We need to keep those at least 7 years.
Of course, this is just for blanks. This is
Yep.
for things that don't have anything on them currently. We do need to still keep those records.
Absolutely.
Anyone else have anything exciting to say about check stubs? No, sounds great. Can we please
I have a pretty good shredder.
go for it?
Yeah, I think he was saying
I have
he
a
has
pretty good shredder, so if you want to just records, I'll shred them.
Sounds good. Whenever you get the checkbook, I think they're in the same big book as our new ones, so we can just do that. Can we vote to shred those blank checks and stubs from our previous bank, please?
I second the motion.
All right, Secretary, since you seem to be on a roll with this, please go forward with the vote.
Monarch,
Aye.
Regent,
Aye.
Prime Minister,
Aye.
President, membership, affirmative membership, treasurer,
Aye.
and secretary will be an aye. It will pass unanimously.
Sounds great. Moving forward, let's see. We do still need, I have on the notes to discuss a food war representative. Anyone have any thoughts about that? Anybody interested in doing that?
Miranda Gibbs, Lyriel, loves doing it, has asked to do it. So far, I haven't heard anyone else want to do it. So
Is that a BOD function or a just monarchy function?
That's
I
a good
believe it's
question.
just the
I was
monarch.
just
I
asked.
Yeah, I thought so too. I don't think it's part of the business.
don't think the BOD has anything to do with that.
Cool. If we want to go ahead and just strike that and have that be a monarch only thing, it was put up for discussion, and I just was not honestly sure at the time and forgot to clarify whether or not that included the BOD. So if we do not wish to discuss that, we certainly do not have to.
Yeah, I don't think we should.
Okay.
There's no authority for BOD to have anything to do with that part of the game itself, per corpora.
I like it. Okay. Then moving forward, something that I did want to discuss. So, as far as long term versus short term insurance options, I know that we were having issues with that. Where are we at as far as our current insurance and what we need going forward with that?
There are two insurance types that historically we have had. General liability, which is your cover all, covers everything. And then in the last couple of years, we finally started doing D&O insurance, which is directly for our officers of the board, etc., and the Monarch team, etc. We can no longer get general liability due to the payout. I spent about 7 months trying to track down insurance. I was able to get one company to quote it, and it was $10,000 per year versus the historical about $700 that we were paying. For the next 4 years, since we're about a year past that date now, that's where we're at. We're not going to be able to get general liability insurance without paying just an exuberant amount. After 5 years, that will pay to drop off, and we can get general liability again. As long as we maintain D&O, we're covered as far as our actions and officers, but if we have like a major incident on an event side where somebody gets injured, we're not covered. Now, thankfully, our liability waivers don't make us liable for accidents and injuries, etc. So it's not that big of a deal. There are a lot of kingdoms that don't have any insurance because having insurance makes you a target for lawsuits. Had we had no insurance, James wouldn't have been able to be sued because he wouldn't have had any money for them to go after. At least not from a business standpoint. But that's where we're at.
Midnight, you look like you're itching to speak. Go ahead.
So, when it comes to doing events that require insurance on like the GL level, we, as best of what we can do, is per event event insurance that covers that, which is what we are going to be doing for the San Japan event.
That's actually how most kingdoms handle their events, is just buy insurance by event.
We can certainly consider, especially for the larger events and stuff. Like, I don't think it's something we should consider for just like Dragon Master, Weapon Master, things like that, quals, that sort of thing. But I do think that it might be worth it, at least for things like Spring War, or if we're expecting a large crowd for an event. And I believe that the amount was 600. For that, is that just a straight across the board? If we were to get that for an event, no, it is not. So it depends on the amount of people.
It's people and facility locations, whether we're renting and stuff like that. Every event's going to be a little different.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Some sites require insurance, some don't. When we did Weapon Master up in Nocturnus, they required insurance, but we were able to get a waiver and not have to buy it. So every event's going to have to be case-by-case basis going forward until we can get GL again.
Yes, to write on that is the basis for the insurance. It does have a fixed rate going through where eventhelper.com, which is where I'm going to be purchasing the insurance from. And then the only part that does change is the amount of people that are involved. So it does have a set base of a certain amount, which I don't have that for you at this exact moment. But yeah, it's very scaled on where and how many.
Sounds
Is
good.
that
And
how many, an actual number for what you expect to show up? What you
Correct.
have on the list? What is part of your group? How is that broken
Yeah.
down?
It's the GL insurance is based on how many people do you perceive to be at this event that we are going to be covering.
Yeah, and I
So
know
Sans Japan, for example, the 2,000 people is not unreasonable.
No, not at all.
Sergio, when I was talking to the insurance company about per events, let's say we had this mid-range that we just went to where we expected at least 70 people. We would call and say we want insurance for 70 people, and the minute that we hit 100 at gate, we would need to call them and say, hey, had a lot more people, go ahead and bump our insurance, and they would charge us a little more, and we would basically dynamically adjust it up as more people showed up, so that we're covered.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I get that aspect. The bigger thought process I have on this is our budget this year was very tight. San Japan was kind of on the cusp, right? And so what happens when we're waiting on the ability to pay what outstanding bills we have versus needing to bump insurance right then?
I think that
So
that's a good point.
pretty much what we need to do is do kind of like the baker's dozen aspect when selecting the amount of perceived people. So if we're assuming that 75 will be there, we should get it for 100.
I mean, that's reasonable and makes sense. I just, since this sounds kind of like our exclusive role here is the BoD, is maybe we need to figure out how to get that incorporated. That one, if you're going to submit a bid that's for 100 people, part of your bid process needs to include the cost of insurance at X amount of dollars.
It absolutely should.
And all
If it
that
doesn't,
information
it's not
can be
acceptable.
found on there. Yeah. So when the autocrat is putting up the bid, they can go to eventhelper.com, which is, I mean, by far the cheapest that I found so far for this type of stuff. And there actually is a LARP insurance category, literally specifically tailored for what we do. And you can enter all the information and it will give you a quote.
When you say all the inner information, you mean
The
have
amount of
had
people.
lawsuits, things of that?
No. They the questions that are being asked is, where is the location, who is running it, what organization is it associated with, what is the specific event that you are operating at, the estimated amount of people, and of what age brackets. So like, if we make sure that nobody under the 14 years of age is taking the field, we don't have to add the child's clause, so to speak. So we have to be more on point with who takes the field and who does not take the field, which is, I mean, generally stated in our rules of play. And it's just, as long as we follow that, we can pretty easily navigate how much this will cost us each time around.
Yeah, per events don't care about your history as far as if you've been sued before.
Correct.
Sergio's point,
Yeah,
though,
that's
all bids
that's
be
fair enough. I was
included in
just
the
really concerned that, one, I figured there was an age bracket deal in there, and two, does it matter if you've been sued before and have nothing in play? I'm sure we have things that you can think about and talk about potentially in the rules of play, but we literally have nothing that stops mom, dad coming out with their kid gets shanked and is bleeding all over the place. We didn't buy a 10-year-old insurance. Now what happens?
That's fair, because for this event, the San Japan event, it's not going to really be on us because we are only accepting adults into the fighting pit. They're the only people that are at the event that we are running, basically. So it doesn't matter too much for this, but it would matter for future events if we wanted general liability. Yes, Midnight.
When you say that you're only
So
accepting adults, are you only letting people that are 18 and over play at San Japan?
no, it's 14, and the age bracket that falls under the child's clause is 10. So it puts it. I had to factor in at least so many people because they're not asking specifically who will be participating, because with LARP objects fly through the air. So they want an estimated value of how many people will be in attendance, not necessarily participating. So I did have to add that into there, but at a much smaller rate because they will not be in close proximity to any physical activity. And all of that is actually, it's very intuitive and very selectable when it comes to purchasing this insurance.
Fair enough. I just want to make sure that we do so much of this stuff ad hoc, right? Whenever it comes to doing event bidding and things of that nature. While we do have it written out, there's things that we need to do consistently. I don't know if it's worth having it written somewhere on the CK page and the BoD page. If you're going to put a bid, here is what you need, black and white, because while you do research, I do research. Everybody that does research, not everybody that does research comes to the same conclusions and reads things the same way. So that's my only big concern.
I like the idea of having a standardized bid requirement sheet, but since the only bid that the BoD actually approves is Spring War, I really think that should come from the Monarch team. They're the ones reviewing 80% of the bids and 90% of the bids and approving them. The BoD just pays for everything.
Yeah, honestly, I think my only thing at this point that I really want to make sure that we have insurance for is going to be Spring War, and we can certainly discuss that when we get to the point where we are talking about Spring War bids. But for sure, I think it would be better if we had insurance for that.
We have to have insurance for Spring War, and it needs to be part of the bid. Amy, I'm sure you're taking that into account for your bid that may have been submitted already. I don't know.
I am now. I had completely forgot about it, and I was pricing it while y'all were talking, but they want to send me a quote, so I won't have it in time to present for the actual bid proposal.
To Sergio's point, exactly.
But Midnight is right. EventHelper.com is very easy to navigate, and it asks very specific questions. So, it's not that it's going to be a difficult issue. It's just I had completely forgotten about it. I'm sorry.
I mean,
It's fine. That's why we're
point.
discussing it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, I just want to for sure make sure that Spring Wars in the future, until we have overarching general liability insurance, do have it, and we can do a case by case basis per Monarch discretion for other events. But I really just wanted to focus especially on our large events, like mostly Spring War, right? Because that is something that the BoD controls. And if possible, certainly we need insurance anytime we do that going forward. I don't know if that really needs a vote or if that's just something that we need to discuss. But I just wanted to make sure it was brought up, especially with the people that are doing Spring War bids present.
Well, I do have one question. Sorry to segue into this. I know Spring War BoD, that is the point. With insurance in general, and the reason this is that vein is if we don't actually rent something, do we have to have insurance? I.e., we have parks that play on Sunday, whatever. They don't normally have to have insurance. But let's say we have Crown Qualls or Weapon Master. If we don't actually rent something, are there any liabilities there, and should we have insurance?
There should be no liability because of our waiver. And
Yeah.
I don't think we need insurance unless the site is specifically requiring insurance, which only happens if we rent.
I agree. I think that this is just pretty much extra cushion for having such a large amount of people, and and Spring War is the one that really came to mind with that. I don't think that it should be required for anything else, but certainly that's kind of up to Monarch discretion because you have control over what bids you decide on. It may be worth discussing with people in the future and just making sure that they cross their T's as far as whether or not the site requires insurance, and making sure that that is in the bid before it is put in, or if you don't see it on a bid, make sure to mention it, things like that. That being said, our waivers do pretty much protect us. Like Torque was saying, I don't think that it's necessary for anything except Spring War, and for Spring War, it should probably be required at this point.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Anyone else have anything that they would like to say about that? Cool. Discussion done. So let's see. We have, let's see. I guess that needs to go at the end as far as changeover for positions, right? That would probably be easiest.
You can do it whenever.
Okay. So as far as positions, we currently have Zam or Dave Pratt coming back in as Prime Minister. Congratulations on that. And then as of last night, because we needed to do it pretty quickly in order to get everything reconciled financially after the event, we did some change around stuff, which I can kind of go through to the best of my memory. I was very exhausted. Basically, Thad stepped down from alternate. I need to go back a little bit. So Josh stepped down as GMOR first, correct? Correct. And then from there, Thad stepped down as alternate. And then Josh stepped in as alternate. Josh was then appointed from there to pro temp treasurer. So currently, he is our treasurer until we ratify it at the next all thing. And that should give us plenty of time for that vote going forward. But for right now, he's in that position. And then after he was elected into that position, of course, Thad was put back in as alternate. So that's where we're at there. That is where all the positions currently are. Anyone have any questions regarding all of that?
I don't have the Corpora up, but does it require an all-thing approval or just a BoD approval?
I think that ratification required all thing. I don't think that
because
pro
it's
temp
a
did.
pro term
Okay.
Yeah.
appointment. It requires an all thing. We just didn't get to that portion of it yesterday due to the tomfoolery.
Yeah, okay. I
Exactly.
thought it was BoD only, so thanks for correcting me.
Yeah, no problem at all. It is very much a learning process for me as well. So it's on the list of things that I need to put forward for all thing approval going forward for ratification of that position. But yes, that is on the list for that. Any other questions regarding position changes currently? Amazing. Wonderful. Onward. So let's see. Midnight, I have a spot open if you want to discuss membership perks. I know that there were a couple of hiccups and questions regarding things like Feast and having people in line in certain orders and stuff like that. I don't know if you want to discuss anything regarding that.
Actually, yes. So, when the board was first discussing the membership perks, it was going to be something that we just as an organization do, and it doesn't necessarily need to be put in the Corpora because, like, it's, because people take the Corpora as law, and like if it's not written there, it doesn't have to be done. We don't need to do it, but it's like it's something that we just should do as an organization, but it doesn't need to be like mandated.
Well, I get where James is coming from. We can't force a BoD stand on a non-BoD event without forcing it into the actual bid response. When we accepted the bid on the Monarchy team, if we don't call it out right then that we need to enforce membership officers' request to have first in line at Feast, it shouldn't happen. Spring War, we could absolutely do that all day, but James is right. We can't force it without basically having them agree to it as part of the bid response acceptance.
Yeah, and I'll speak to that because I'm the monarch that submitted stuff and said, "Hey, I think this is all right," and we had people sign off on it. Um, it's not part of the bid, so not having a comprehensive list of what the membership perks are, I I have no idea because Midnight has these grand ideas. They're fantastic. What happens with the next membership person? What happens with the next one? Without having a comprehensive list of what is involved with a membership perk, one, your membership people have no idea what they're getting, and when it comes to the Kapora, that actually is the law, right? So, if it's going to be ad hoc, then maybe we got to find a better way to do it ad hoc. Since it is on the board now, we definitely need to get it incorporated on what being a member of the Celestial Kingdom, what perks that gets you when you pay for that that money.
I think ad hoc is fine. We just need to finalize the process of the membership officer needs to make sure the monarch knows I would like to do this for the events this reign as membership officer. That way, it's not forced upon the membership officer, and there's some flexibility on what they want to do. But we can't force it on the autocrat without any approval or them even knowing about it till 2 weeks before the event. That's just short-sightedness on our side. I didn't even think it would be an issue, but yeah, absolutely it's an issue. I just never considered it.
Yeah. So just to throw out there what some of the things were that I could see causing an issue with the way a bid is written is we did talk about having reduced gate fee for the dues paid members, but I mean it's not like a grand reduction of price. It was just like because we do two, generally two paid per reign, and then $5 off gate ticket each time is not that big of a stretch to give a discount to the dues paid members because technically their dues kind of cover that already in the amount. But I do understand, the adverse point to that is some sites are going to require the exact amount. We're going to have to scale that number potentially to I guess fall onto the non-dues paid members by making all of their gate tickets like $1 more. But like those are like things we need to look at before we actually put that portion of the membership perks into action. But that was one of the big things is being a member should grant you a set list of perks. We have some that are already going, and then there are perceived ones that I want to get going, but we need to do the hashing out and make it to where it's like a continued thing.
Well, keep in mind there's two different aspects to this. There's stuff we can control and stuff that we don't control. Stuff like who gets in line at Feast first is stuff we don't control. Pricing on online event registration, guess what? We control that. We can send out coupons to every dues paid member that gives them $5 off of anything they buy on our website. Autocrat has no ability to control how much they pay or whether they get a discount or a $5 coupon or whatever. That's on us. So, shit we can control, we should control.
Yeah, I absolutely think that's fair. I also think that it may even be worth it to just put on the CK page anytime we have a change to the list, but it would definitely be worth it to put a concrete list of perks somewhere, whether it be on the website, whether it be on the CK page, somewhere, just so that we have a comprehensive list of everything that is expected. And that way we can all kind of go through it, make sure everything is kosher, make sure everything kind of lines up with what we are allowed and what we are not allowed to do. And once we agree on that, it can be posted somewhere so that we have a little more communication on it and we can make sure that everything is okay and that this doesn't happen again, but also that we are doing what we can to make sure that our members are getting their perks.
I'm just really hesitant to formalize anything like that because while this BoD team is great and the last BoD team was great, I don't know what the next BoD team is going to be and if the membership officer is going to be near as engaging as Midnight has been. We already went, what, 8 years with no newsletter, despite that being called out in Kapora as required. That's likely to happen again.
So
Way to set the
now,
precedent.
hey, I don't know how to underdo anything. Um, it's all part of being extra. So there are things that are already outlined in the Kapora as, you know, what you get with dues paid, which is being able to vote, being able to hold office on a provincial or a kingdom level. So like there are things that are already membership perks with quotation fingers that are already outlined in our Kapora. So like this is, I guess, just adding on to whatever that list is, but some of those smaller things that are more concrete, like you said, things that we can control.
And I mean, that list could always be updated. If they don't feel like we need that many membership perks, they can certainly go back and change whatever they want. If future BODs want to change that, it's not a concrete in the corpora thing. It's just a list of the current ongoing perks, if that makes more sense.
So let's do this.
And
Let's have membership officer create a short list of perks that we can just put up there and vote, and then add it to like the dues payment section of the website, and maybe create a separate page specifically of dues benefits, and see how it
Yes.
goes. Just
Oh,
try
I
to
love
keep in
that.
mind stuff that we can control versus we can't control.
So when you mentioned that, like, first in line for feast and priority seating and stuff like that, stuff is that we can't really control. We kind of can. We just have like the general population line up in one spot, and then dues paid members line up in a secondary spot, and we pull from that line first. I mean, it's not really something that we need specific writing and, you know, verbiage to make that, you know, concrete. It's just that, like, we just form two lines, one of blue wristbands or whatever member wristbands we're using at the time, and then everybody else who does not have one. And then, I mean, seating is a little bit difficult, but if we set up like the front row, like, of all the tables is like, you know, the members, like, you know, front row at a theater or whatever. So stuff like that we kind of can implement and put like in our scope of control, but I'm not necessarily sure that we need concrete verbiage that says like the first 10 chairs on table A, B, and C are designated as, I mean, it's just, you know, priority seating. You get your choice of where you want to go before other people have access to that room or space, I guess, however that works.
I don't think that the point was that it is not physically possible to do. I think that the point was that it takes away from the autocrats' ability to run their own event the way that they choose. So it's not
I
so
get that now.
much, yeah. It's not that we didn't think that it was possible. It's more of we don't want to reach into what is their responsibility and what they want to do, if that makes more sense.
Gotcha.
That's it exactly. I mean, we can.
I mean,
put
we're
the
kind of
idea
already
forward.
doing that with the newsletter being under the membership officer right now because our corpora very clearly says that's the duty of the prime minister.
Yeah.
Well, that has been changed, and we voted on that in my last term as membership officer. So speaking of the treasury report and all of the minutes or whatever from this meeting, I do need to receive so I can put into the next issue, which needs to come out in the next couple weeks.
Sounds good. Do we have anyone else that wants to speak on membership perks? Any concerns that they have regarding membership perks and where it falls, like where our abilities to change that stop and where they start?
Look, I'm a huge advocate of membership perks. I think that's the only way we drive dues, because historically, the only people that have paid dues are the people that, you know, either been around a long time and love the game, people that want to be in office, or people that want to vote and control stuff. Membership dues are the only way you get the bigger populace to be engaged, and I think our dues have definitely gone up since starting to do a lot of this stuff. We have to have more membership perks.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think Midnight's been doing a great job with it, by the way. And I think that it's showing. But at the same time, we need to tread that line between, like, how do I explain this? Membership
What
perks and
happens when
pay to
I'm no
play.
longer here?
No, no, no. It's more of like I don't want to traverse into the territory of pay to win versus pay to play, all that sort of stuff. Like I don't want to make it such a big jump from people that are not paying dues to people that are, which is another reason I was kind of concerned about like first in line things, stuff like that. As long as we are being cautious about that, I think that it is wonderful. I think that the work you're putting in is showing it, and I think that it's great. Okay. Okay. Anyone else have anything else to add before we go into the next thing? Sounds good. Let's see what else we got on here. Let's see. I think that Fog's corporate change was actually in the all thing. I don't even know why I put it on my list, if I'm being honest. We've already discussed replacement of treasurer. Does anyone else have anything, just open table, anything else to add before we go on to the spring war bid? I think that that's our next item.
I do.
I have an item that needs to be voted on.
Yeah, I'll go third.
Go ahead, JK. Josh.
Gavin purchased 2 flat top griddles at this event that he'd like to be reimbursed for. They're nice griddles. They were $40 total, but I can't just carte blanche approve them, so we have to vote to approve the assets, and they'll be part of our kitchen from now on.
They were $40 each?
No, it's $40 total. They were $19.90 something each.
I haven't used my Regent funds for the month. I would happily pay with my Regent funds. Just be done with it.
Okay, that'll work.
All right.
So I will reimburse him the $40 and then charge it to your fund.
Thanks.
Sounds good. Torque, I think that you were next.
So one of the things that we've always talked about doing and just nobody's had the time to do because of all the other responsibilities is pursuit of 501c3. It's a pain in the ass, but if we really want to, in my opinion, supercharge our funds, we would stop having to pay for all the G Suite stuff, which is about $45 a month. I think we get free Google Cloud hosting for a couple servers. But more importantly, those of us in the corporate world that have matching donations would be able to donate like I just did to the Kingdom a couple weeks ago. That $200 I donated would have been 100% matched because it's 501c3. All the hours of time that we donate can also be corporate matched, and it would really help the Kingdom. I don't know how, but Polaris did it. Amtgard International did it. There's another Kingdom that I saw earlier today when I was looking at my corporate match that's done it. I would like the board's approval to try to go after this myself. I'm going to need people like the secretary to sign stuff as it comes up, but I want to try to see if I can take this and run and get the board or the game 501c3 again.
If you can do it, it's not just the corporate matching. You could also sign up for the Amazon Smile and have everybody everywhere donate towards it. Like I know my Amazon Smile right now is set up to Amtgard International, but I would, if possible, I would rather throw it at the local Kingdom. The only reason is the lack of 501c3.
So many benefits that somehow it's able to be done. Polaris has proved that it's able to be done. I just need to get with them and find out how they did it and basically mirror it.
We have to qualify basically as an educational organization.
Yeah, I want to see what they put on their submission and carbon copy it, because in theory it's the exact same. But I couldn't do it as a BoD president. There was way too much going on. I don't think anybody here is going to have the time to do it. As Regent, I don't have a lot of responsibility, and I'm pretty much done with Dragon Master, so I think I might have the time to be able to do this. Midnight.
I really appreciate that. Midnight, if you want to go ahead and chat, you look like you need to.
Okay, so without it being educational and trying to push that aspect, we are multi-generational. And that's one of the big key factors because we are physical activity, outdoors, multi-generational. So that is a big thing that a lot of organizations are using to employ this 501c3 aspect. Another factor that would really help out by being in 501c3 is that we can actually do the tax write-offs to anybody that donates to us or any organization that donates to us. So searching for event sponsorship, that's where those doors open. Because as of right now, if an organization wants to donate to the CK, say for, like, I believe Grifter got Tito's to do Spring War at one time. Tito's, thank God, did it all on their own volition and had no way to recoup that type of charitable donation. As a 501c3, that everyone very well can. So by doing that, we can now start seeking out sponsors for our big events, and that takes a big weight off of our outgoing payments to operate such things.
I mean, it's nothing but a benefit if we can get it done. Uh, there may be a nonprofit lawyer fee that obviously we wouldn't pay without coming to the board, but if I can't do it myself, I may have to involve an NPO lawyer. But I think it's going to be worth it in the end if we can get it. It will require more stringent bookkeeping. It will require more reporting to the IRS and I believe even the state level. But the money alone that we save and doors that it opens is going to be massive, so it's worth it in the long run.
Yeah, I honestly absolutely agree. I think that it's definitely worth voting on it. I appreciate that you're willing to put forth your time and effort into it. And certainly, if you think that you can accomplish that, I think that it's worth a vote for sure. Does anyone else have anything to say about it before we do put it towards a vote to pursue that?
It's also going to incur the requirement that we do periodic auditing of our books, and it has to be done by an outside auditor.
Okay, good point. Absolutely. Anyone else have any other pros or cons to put forth before we do this vote so that we're all educated on the subject?
On the outside auditor, you can also find organizations that are willing to do that pro bono as well, because that at that point can also be written off.
Yeah, I'll gather the requirements and work with Treasury to make sure that we're going to be compliant because our bookkeeping has not been as great as it was since Josh was actually treasurer last time. I kind of moved everything to like a summary report. We're probably going to have to get better at that, but let me gather the requirements, find out what we're actually looking at. But even if it requires hiring an accountant to do some of this, it would still be a massive savings long run.
Not super related, but sort of related. I think that it would be worth it to keep a running comprehensive list of every single duty for every single, like I know we have it in the corpora, like kind of generalized, but I think that would be worth it to really put forth the effort to make a good comprehensive list of every single thing that is required of all of these positions, because there have been a lot of times, especially with the changeovers for treasurer, where we're kind of scrambling, like what all does this entail, what things are they required to pay every month, things like that. But even if somebody has to step out on an emergency situation like we just had, I think that it's worth it to go ahead and have just a running list, maybe a Google document, something like that, of every single thing that's required, so that in the future, especially if we're going to pursue this change to go to a 503, I think that it's worth it to have that so that that precedent is there and there's no, gray area of, well, I'm not 100% sure what my responsibilities were because I wasn't told very well by the last person. So we're not as in the future dependent on very specific individuals to tell that to the next person, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. I don't disagree. Getting people to write that document, myself included. I mean, you got nothing when you came on, right? I got nothing when I came on as treasurer or president or treasurer, other than Josh helping me even navigate our basic docs, right? Like, there is no standard policies and procedures for taking over a role. I would love it if that's documented. Creating those documents, nobody does them.
Sounds good. I'll just make a note personally to start on that. I don't think it requires a vote or anything, just an aside, especially if we're going to pursue this and we need good documentation. I think that's totally worth it. I will make a note. Midnight, you look like you need to say something.
Yeah, so before this part of the conversation goes on its own tangent, I wanted to digress back to the 501c3. Are we? Is that a thing that we're going to vote on now? And if so, do I make the motion to vote?
Yes. If nobody else has anything else to add to the conversation, I think that we are good to vote. Seconded, I suppose.
Thank you.
All right, Secretary, we would like to vote on pursuing the 501c3 status.
Monarch,
Yay.
Regent,
Abstain.
Prime Minister,
Aye.
President,
Aye.
Membership,
Aye.
Treasurer,
Aye.
and I as Board Secretary. It'll pass 6 affirmatives and 1 abstain.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. One more person, I think, had something else for the open table. So whoever that was, I missed it.
Yeah, it's me, Sergio Monarch.
Sounds good. Go for it.
So I think, I don't know if this was a shortcoming of myself, the Prime Minister, or something we just overlooked. The all thing that we had yesterday, I know this is monarchy side stuff. I just don't know, does the BoD have anything on the all thing other than confirming members?
I missed that entire meeting, unfortunately.
So far, I don't have anything besides ratifying the treasurer position for Josh. But I can update you if I do going forward.
Sorry, what I meant is does the BoD have any input on it? Like, are they supposed to bring items? Are they supposed to talk about items? Or is this just monarch, prime minister, wheelhouse?
We, as a BoD, would bring items such as ratification of folks or Kapoor change requests, etc. But I don't think that we had anything for yesterday's all thing.
Okay, so the reason why I'm asking is because I got pinged yesterday evening by an individual who said there was an amendment to allow parks, an amendment saying that parks are not allowed to leave the kingdom. They wanted to know if that has passed or not. And the concerns with that is apparently some parks in the Austin area want to leave the Celestial Kingdom. I didn't see it on Indian agendas. I didn't know if it's something I missed. So I was just trying to find out if that was a failure on me or BoD as a whole.
The first I'm hearing anything about that.
Okay.
I mean, if Dave doesn't know anything about it, then it's not on the agenda for any kind of all-thing vote. So whoever's making this up didn't actually follow process to get it put to the kingdom.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing that I got was Fogg's presented changes for the corpora for making it to where parks did not have to have the whole kingdom vote on park matters. I think that's the only one that I got, and I knew that he was putting that forth on the all thing. So I was not aware either, just for the record.
Okay, cool.
So what I can say about that, I will go back and look through my emails. I'm 99.9% sure that the only all things proposal I had was for Fog. I did do a keyword search before I left the house, and I did it, a month ago whenever I had to do the send it out to all PMs, and I've never seen any other all thing pop up in the as a proposal pop up in my keywords as well. But I'll go back and look, and then I'll have a response for you probably no later than 5 p.m. today.
I'm pretty sure that if a park did want to leave the kingdom, though, they would have to have the BOD sign off on that, because as part of their contract with AI, their park name is part of the CK. So that's CK property. So if they were going to leave, they would have to change the park names and file a new contract with AI for the whatever new kingdom or freehold status they were going for.
Yeah, unless we approved it, which I couldn't imagine doing, unless we wanted that part gone like we did Blackwater Gulch or whatever. They're welcome to go create a new park. They can play HFS, they can play Amtgard somewhere else, whatever, but they can't just up and leave the kingdom without approval.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
so
I mean
that is
certainly.
something they do need to bring to the BOD. Whether it's an all thing or not is irrelevant at this point. If they're that dissatisfied with the way the Celestial Kingdom as a board is allowing the park to be ran, whatnot, then they need to petition us to leave or just go create their own game at a different time and place.
Yeah, I mean, Nocturnus had talked about this back when what's her name was running it. She was so
And
pissed
no
as fuck.
surprises, it's Nocturnus again. As an active member of Nocturnus, I had never even heard about it until yesterday, so I'm extremely surprised.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about this either, but I assume yeah. It's funny because it's probably just one person at Nocturnus thinking that they can do this on their own and not putting it to the Nocturnus populace, which is exactly what happened last time that they were talking about this. They can't.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm wondering if there's some sort of a what's the a requirement of dues paid members, a number of dues paid members that have to agree with that in order to even put it forth to
Oh
us?
yeah, no, we have our own all things we have to follow and
Yeah.
put it up for voting, stuff like this. This person, I think, was just trying to find out if it got added to the Kapora per an all thing where they could start and follow that process. I will follow up with them and just let them know if they want to leave the Celestial Kingdom. They'll need to put it up to their local. They'll need to follow a process, and then that will be submitted to the Celestial Kingdom board. And if they just decide they want to go play a different game, they're more than welcome to.
Yeah, I mean, I would absolutely recommend that if they ask to leave the kingdom, that we just don't let them out of their contract and make them play under a new contract with a different kingdom or a freehold or a different game entirely. Keep Nocturnus and the intellectual property that we own in Nocturnus there for the people who want to play Amtgard in the northern Austin area.
I don't disagree, but that's how it's going to play out.
So I have a question. So in order for that to be like a thing, like say Nocturnus wants to leave the CK, don't they also need like some sort of like petitioning documentation to the whichever kingdom they would be moving to? Or are
they would go free? And
You have to go freehold.
petitioning.
Oh, okay.
They have to go freehold so that they create a contract with AI or move their contract to AI as a freehold, and then they can go wherever they want. But it's never going to hit that. We're not going to approve it short of some really damn good reason.
Well, was that the process that we took when Eclipse shifted to wetlands?
I wasn't on the board.
We
happened, but
Eclipse had the BOD approval.
Yeah, the BOD approved.
Sounds like that's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, the Eclipse had good reason, right? Nocturnus doesn't, and it doesn't even have support of its own populace, so.
And going forward, anyone else have anything pertinent to process? Anyone else have anything that anybody else has missed regarding that? If not, if anybody else wants to discuss anything at the open table portion, go for it.
Sir?
Yeah, agreed. So tabling this to the discussion for now, for sure. That aside, does anyone else have anything open table discussion to add before we move on to spring war bid?
I'm going to once again reiterate the things that we need to have in the newsletter, which have not been in the last couple issues because for one, I didn't exactly know what needed to be in there. I just kind of assumed it was just kind of like an information dump. But now, to my understanding, there are things that are required to be in our newsletter. So those of us as board members, we know what we need to do, and we need to get that info to me ASAP, so I can. I mean, because it takes me a couple weeks to draft the newsletter. So message from the monarch. Any little extra tidbits that need to be given, the notes from the meeting, the treasury report, I guess information coming from this past event. I think it's supposed to be in there, but I think that also falls under the treasury report. And then anything else, I like to include something from the board president in the area, in one of like the back pages of, as of so far, what does the president of our board feel they want to and or need to say to the populace. So I need all of these ASAP.
Ooh, I would
One
love
thing that I would like to
that.
request that you include would
Yeah.
be a list of all the awards that have gone out in the rain.
I asked for that the last couple of times. I did not get those. I just kind of put in a couple things that I knew, but I do need that list.
Boy, the newsletter just tripled in size.
And that is fine. And I understand that once I am no longer in this role, my successor may not have the skill and or ability to produce what I produce, but having these things outlined as what needs to be, what should be, and just what is entered into the newsletter, we do need that. Same thing as we spoke about before. When the position shifts hands, there needs to be something outlined, because I made all this up as I started.
Yeah, exactly. And it's already on the list to make that happen. So we're working on it. It's gonna be great.
So wait, I missed
And I
something
will try
here.
to get you
Is it already in the Kapora that the monarch has specific things to put in the newsletter? If so, I'll reread that. I apologize.
It
The
is
only
not.
thing in the Kapora that mentions the newsletter is that the prime minister is supposed to make the newsletter. That's pretty much
We
the
changed
only
that.
mention.
No, there's also the fact that the treasury report has to be in the newsletter, and there was one other report. It is called out.
Yeah, and it was last rain when we had an all thing and we moved the duties of the newsletter from the prime minister onto the membership officer, because it's just a lot of extra paperwork that the prime minister needed to be dealing with at the time, and the newsletter also now falls under membership perks, which is in control of the membership officer, or no, by the membership officer.
Yeah, we should probably do an all thing to actually get that approval changed.
I don't think that actually got edited in. I'm looking at the Kapora right now, and it's still listed as under the prime minister.
Yeah, I don't know
I
that
do-
it happened at an all thing.
I don't remember that
I
actually
remember.
happening.
I do, and I don't have that great of a memory, but I do remember that.
Well, it's not in the Kapora currently, and if it happened at an all thing, it was one I missed.
So I think we need to go back through.
Before my reign, at least.
Yeah, so we need to go back through the meeting notes and what the previous all things were around that time, and I would say a stretch of not the previous reign, but the 2 reigns prior, which is when I was in office there. So if we can look through all those, find out when it was done, because I like I'm saying, I do have somewhat of a memory of that taking place, which is why I've been doing it.
Well, it would have had to
I'm
go.
with that on that. I remember the BoD meeting where it happened, but I don't remember it ever going to all things.
Right, and up until today, we haven't had a secretary actually take notes very well. So it happened at a BoD meeting, but there was no all thing to my recollection. It needs to go through all thing.
Yeah, I've got it on my list to draw up something for the all thing already. So we are good there. We can make sure that it is actually added at the next all thing, and we will be fine.
I remember reaching out to Fogg, because Fogg has made a lot of Kapora amendments in the past, either spearheading them or officiating over them. I reached out and was like, I want to make sure that my legacy of what this position is, it will be continued. And then it was just very overwhelming for me because I still don't know what to do. Like, I can speak my mind about what I feel the position would, could, or should be, but I don't know how to put that in writing.
I mean, if you can't put it in writing, it's not going to happen. So I
I get
recommend
that.
taking a shot at it, and we can help you
Yeah,
tweak it from there. But
because
we're not
right
going to do
now
it
in writing, it's the PM's job, and I know when I was PM, I did it. I don't. We definitely went a while where there were a number of PMs who didn't, but I know when I was PM, I was producing them regularly.
Yeah, because I remember that there was the vote to take it from in print, which is what the prime minister's monthly, allotment was to literally print these out and hand to people. But with digital age, and especially with us being in COVID, that was not like a thing to do. So we went, and I believe we made a vote to make it digital, which is now why I reuse the Google Suite to
We
email out
did
to
have
everybody.
a vote a while ago to basically remove all instances of hard copy paperwork being requirements, to go digital for more or less everything. But that did not change at all who makes the newsletters. It's still per corpora the prime minister's job.
Yeah, we
You're
just need
good.
to run it
Midnight.
quality.
Oh, I can get with you and we can work on wording for that. And if you still want to run it past the BOD or PM or whoever you want to run it past, we can certainly do that. But I can work with you on wording for that so that we can make sure that we have this correct. And we can also add that the newsletter is digital if you'd like.
Here's a
Thank
hint.
you.
Here's a hint. In the Kapora, under Prime Minister, it has two sections that talks about creation of the newsletter. Submit a Kapora change to move those two from Prime Minister to membership officer, and we're done.
Exactly. I was like, this isn't going to be hard, guys. We got this. Sounds good. Anyone else have anything to add? Open table discussion? Anyone at all?
At midnight, I'll do my best to get you the treasury report as quickly as possible, but I don't know how long it's going to take to get me the records, and I don't know what state they're in when I get them.
Josh,
Oh,
let me know
yeah,
when you
good
get
point.
home, and we'll get you connected to the Treasury email address, and then you can start the ridiculous process of getting access to the bank. The PayPal is easy, but the bank is not easy. I don't know whose phone number is currently associated to it. It may be still Mike Green. Updating the phone number with the bank has been a challenge, to say the least. So, if it's on Mike Green's phone, you're going to have to work with him to get the two-factor authentication code that they sent, and do your best to change the damn phone number.
So when it comes to this, do I withhold putting out the newsletter, say waiting for the treasury report, knowing what kind of backflips we have to go to do so, or do I still try and release it in the 2 weeks, and then once we get the treasury report, I release a extra thing that gets sent out,
Release
Yeah,
last quarter's treasury report in your newsletter. I don't think
Okay.
that ever made it out. So we should
Yes.
really be running a quarter behind on the newsletter treasury report, so we're fine.
Okay, then yeah. So if I can get all of that information, I hope to have it published in 2 weeks.
sounds great. Good plan going forward for sure. Anyone else have anything else to add?
I would like to add a motion to close.
I would second that motion.
We need spring work boots.
Let me double check that I don't have anything else.
Guys, we can't close
Yep.
until you do the spring war bid.
Yeah,
Ah.
exactly.
Closed.
Spring Ward bid is the last. I was just waiting for open table to be done. So if we are ready for spring Ward bid, sounds great. Go, Amy.
I'm sorry, what?
She said, please go ahead, Surreal, and submit your bid.
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm on my phone, so I can't present. I don't know how to present, but I'm gonna paste the link to the bid in the chat.
I will
Perfect.
open the bid
Thank
and
you.
share it.
And is Gavin still in here?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
And of course, all of this is gonna go with a influx. I think either Amy or Gavin, y'all are do that event insurance thing to get a projection.
Right, we're gonna have to
Right.
add that as an expense.
Okay,
As it is
I've got
written
it up.
now, and there's a note at the bottom, we are budgeting for 450 people because that was we reached that number the last 3 spring wars we had prior to shutdown. We actually think there's going to be closer to 500, maybe even 550, because we think that just like this event, people are desperate to get out. It's going to be the first interkingdom event after COVID, or regardless of COVID. I mean, because COVID could very well still be here, but people either are vaccinated or not, and Texas isn't going to shut down. So, we just think it's going to be very well attended for various reasons. We looked at the new site, the one that we have chosen today. Hopefully everything goes well with the cleanup and that they don't have any problems with us. I can't read my proposal. It's really small. So the Krat, I would be autocrat. Jason is feast Krat. Then Dolan would be warcrat. I'm trying to... Bethany is our P-crat. Oh, there we go. All right. David Lee Williams is trash crat. Deanna Megan Evans is gate crat. Malmoria has volunteered to be ANS crat, entertainment crat. That's going to be the person in charge of the parties. That's Grifter. Security crat is AJ Watkins, and then Dakota has one of her pages. Squires is named Envy, and she's going to be basically guiding him, but he's going to be in the position. But if you know Dakota, she's not going to allow any of her squires to fail, so he'll do a good job. Hydration crat, Claudia is actually going to be consulting, and it's going to be her 3 squires or pages that are going to be doing it. So we already have the hydration team. Will be she is not going to be listed as the crat, but she is the consultant. And then hospitality crat is the only one I have to be determined. That's one. I really just want one person whose only job is to make sure we always have hand sanitizer, paper towels, and toilet paper, so that no one comes up to the autocrat and is like, we're out of toilet paper. I'm like, I want to make sure someone's job is checking the toilet paper at all times.
Surreal, you have me.
Okay, because that's the one thing that runs out. And people always are like, we're out of toilet paper, we're out of toilet paper, we're out of toilet paper. And actually, I need to add trash bags to that list, because it's like, okay, this person needs to be in charge of checking that at least multiple times a day. All right, moving down. The site, we do want Nolte Island. There are some logistical issues. I'm not a truck driver, and I've never pulled a trailer. Getting the porta potties, because the flushies are not adequate for the number of people that we are expecting if we want to have a sanitary event and not everybody get dysentery. We're going to need more porta potties, but that bridge is narrow. My science guy, Gavin, says it's doable. The park people think it's doable. So we would also be renting a shower trailer, because I don't want to smell 4 days worth of stink on some of these people. But those prices, the porta potties are and a dumpster rental are already on the bid numbers. We have not priced the shower trailer yet, but that one's also going to be expensive. But I'll get a number as soon as possible. Yes, is that midnight?
So when we were at Vista Hermosa, I looked into getting a shower trailer, and I did not find one that could make it down that ramp. So if it couldn't make down the ramp at Vista Hermosa, it's not going to make it across the bridge.
We had a
So
shower trailer at the event yesterday.
I thought that Spog just built camp trailers.
Yeah, he built something. It wasn't like one of those rentable ones that go down there.
Okay.
We're going to have to look at that as we use Nolte Island. The problem is we just don't have a lot of other options right now. Most of the other sites that we're looking at, Valkyrie Ranch is another option, but he's been difficult to get a hold of, and he's never really given us an actual price. And then again, the one in Flatonia, God, I can't remember the name of it. The one that we actually went out and visited as a group.
Spirit Haven.
Yeah, Spirit Haven. They just don't have a lot of amenities. So, I mean, we really like this site. We just got to see what we need to do to make it work.
And there are backup contingencies. There are 2 areas pre-bridge where shower trailers can go. It would kind of be a thing you have to drive, in shower shifts. And, we're just talking about a turn radius issue here, not a weight radius or a height radius or anything else. So it just is a matter of contacting a particular company and getting some dimensions on their trucks and what they can offer as a truck. If they have a smaller, like 3/4 ton or 2-ton pickup size truck they can pull trailers with to reduce their turn radius.
Okay, but again, Jason's my science guy, and so he says it's doable. So I'm like, all right, I trust you. Torque, could you scroll up, because mine is stopping at the site. I don't know if you're presenting lower than that.
You want me to scroll down?
Yeah, that's it. Scroll down. I'm sorry, I'm very tired. So the theme, I forgot to talk about theme. The theme would be homecoming. This is actually Gavin's idea. It's going to be the 28th Spring War, and we want to take that 8 and make it into the infinity symbol, which Bethany's already done artwork for, which Gavin has already started putting out there. But the idea that anyone who's ever come to Spring War or ever heard of a Spring War, just come back. I know even if you had a negative experience, try to give it a second try. We are not the Amtgard of the 80s and the 90s. So, unless you want to come get poisoned, but other than that, we're better. And so come back to and celebrate with us as we open up our game again post COVID. We're stronger than ever. People are excited. We're here. We're going to play, and we're going to take Spring War into the future and the Celestial Kingdom with us. I don't know. Okay, Jason has some artwork, and he said you were working on some artwork. So
yeah,
that's
the initial post or not, that's off the web. But before we start making things, we'll want a unique image of our own.
Okay, yeah. So, War Games Dolan's on board. I'm hoping to get him a committee so that one or two, he's getting help making all these games and running all the games and not just doing it all together, because one of the issues of Warcrat is 4 days of constantly running games is just physically exhausting. So, I mean, I'd really like to get him more help. And anybody that would, if you want to design 1 or 2 games and not be the whole Warcrat, but help with one, you've got a great idea and hey, let's try it.
Right. And part of our past, present, and future theme, and why we have MHOG on here as a consultant, is we want to survey the past nearly 30 years of Spring War and bring back the absolute best games from that 30 years that people love the most and still talk about to this day.
Right. That's the concept. I wasn't explaining well. We also have, Brett gave me, I haven't seen the logistics on it, but Brett has a line on what he calls a modular portable castle that's made out of tarps and metal poles that is $250 to rent, that I did put in the budget. So I will have to see, and it's something that we can look at. It's a different line item than the Warcrat's budget to see whether or not it's feasible, if it works, if we want it or not, but it would be fun if it does work.
If anything, I would be willing to put forth the money for that.
Well, again, we want to see it. I mean, if it's not great, then is it worth it? We don't get our hopes up and think it's going to be this amazing castle, and it's just a bunch of poles with some tarps. But we'll see.
Yeah, not only that, but
just
Midnight. I know you're offering services here. This is just a bid. The BoD could say this is terrible, and then we get to figure it out ourselves.
Exactly.
I don't think there are any other bids currently.
I don't think so either. Does anyone have any questions so far? I know I'm kind of moving fast.
So one of the primary questions I think I would have for this is what is the deadline that you think you'll have for your site for site preparation? Do you think this is a December answer or is this a end of September answer?
Well, one of the things I've discovered, Paulette, who's the person that the liaison, she's nice, but she works slowly. So I didn't get in touch with her. It took several attempts by phone call to even get her to call me back. And then when she said she would give me information by email, I'm thinking it'll come in an hour. It came 2 days later. So the answer to that is they want to meet with us. They've already sent us the contract. And by the way, there is no mention of insurance on the contract. I've already read it. So that's just FYI, that's out there. But they want to look at they do want to meet with us, and I'm sure they're especially going to meet with us depending on how well they perceive this event going or not perceive this one as going well. But so we will have to meet with them and come up with some of these answers. But I want to get it done sooner rather than later, because the last thing I want to be doing is trying to find a site in January, because that's not going to happen. You're not going to have a site. It has to be done immediately. They do already have availability, and they have written us down.
And this is the Seguin site, correct?
Yes, the Seguin site.
To Sergio's point, we need a date from them. If you don't confirm by this date, we're going to give that site away.
Okay, yeah. Well, again, she did not respond to my email until Thursday night, and then Friday was kind of a really busy day at work. So once I was like, I'm not gonna give her any. I decided to wait until after the bid was proposed before I went back to her with the information of what the board was going to say or what questions y'all had. So, but again, Jason walked all over the site all weekend. I was too busy being excited and seeing my friends. So I was a bad company bro, but he walked all over the site and he made a whole bunch of observations, noting about where we can park. He came up with an idea about alternative parking, like each campsite camper gets one vehicle. So like if you have a married couple and they both have their cars, they can only have one of their cars at their campsite. The other person is in the auxiliary parking lot. Just we can offer up the best sites for companies and stuff, quote unquote, as we can actually bid those off as another form of income. But there's plenty of room for the feast. There's just a lot of really good things about the site. The main issues are the porta potties and the showers. Gavin, obviously, do you have anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I'd say that I completed a preliminary analysis of the site this weekend, but we'll be doing a more extensive one via Google Earth to really kind of parse out the area and determine the most efficient way to use the site. This site can definitely host Spring War, but it's gonna require thoughtful thinking where do you put people. So in my opinion, we need a campsite crat that we'll find and that will be responsible during the first 2 days for making sure people get to the right locations, and that there are camping and parking and all that effectively.
What about carts?
They're not allowed. There are no vehicles, no carts, anything other than actual automobiles are allowed on site. Same with glass containers.
That's gonna suck.
But automobiles are
It
allowed.
is.
To that, there was never a place yesterday where you needed a cart. And if you look at the field behind us,
we're gonna do a number one meal with mayonnaise, no tomatoes, and extra pickles.
Hey, can I get one too, Tada?
I'm sorry, I'm gonna mute y'all. We're getting food.
No, all good.
So the thing that we had or needed carts for previously in other locations was just how spread out it was, right? You had the war site down, and then 2,000 yards up the road, that's where you had camping. The way this site is laid out, if this site is used, there isn't a need for carting because individuals are right beside where everything occurs, right? Even the farthest away, if you parked and or camped near gate, I wouldn't say there's a need for a cart because you can still drive your actual car around the loop and get from point A to point B.
Something I would like to add on that is that at Spring War, we've made it a point where cars are not allowed to go down into anywhere near the camping areas due to the fact of the sheer capacity of people. Because we need to presume that if we're expecting 500 people, we should also be expecting 500 cars. Because, I mean, obviously some people are going to be carpooling, but you're going to have a lot of people that travel by themselves. Having 500 vehicles down there with 500 people.
Yeah, no,
Jason,
we don't want people driving around.
Hey, well,
We just. Well, first of all, that was a site issue at Lone Star. Lone Star, you could have had all the cars there. I mean, your campsite would have been mostly cars, but that was your option. But that was a Lone Star call, not ours, as far as not having the cars in the campsites. Because when they had Spring Wars where they had to pull out 10, 20, 30 vehicles from the mud, that's when they were like, no, we have to have parking up the hill. The one that we were proposing is that we'll give out so many, of course, handicapped and stickers or disabled stickers would get an exception, but we would hand out so many, like to a nihilist, we would give them like maybe 8 parking tickets, right? Little hang tags they hang on their windows, and once their site has exceeded the number of parking tickets, like they have 8 hang tags, only those 8 vehicles can be parked at a nihilist camp.
I'm sorry.
The rest are in the auxiliary site.
I would like to have you modify the plan to sell parking passes. First 50 people or whatever that buy a parking pass can buy their pass. Handicap gets theirs for free, but anybody that wants to buy a parking pass so that they can take their vehicle down there, buy it up front. Otherwise, you're parking outside.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. But
Yeah,
again,
I'm not
it's nothing
sure if
set in
the
stone.
auxiliary parking can actually hold all the vehicles, but
so the numbers fluctuate, right? Is it 50? Is it 100? I don't care, but don't miss an opportunity to actually have people pay for that privilege. Yeah.
Now, also, it pretty much adding on top of that, when we had discussed before with membership perks that if we were going to do any pre-sales of things like that, the first option of that goes to the members, and then after that it opens up to the rest of the populace and then beyond.
Yeah, let's take that offline and how we do that.
Gotcha.
Okay, next is security. AJ has done security many times in the wetlands, and he's extremely experienced. Envy is going to be guided by Dakota, who is also extremely experienced. And again, like if you know Dakota, she will not let one of her squires fail. So it does say in the contract we have to have uniform security guards. It's one of the things that I want to, but I don't know that FOG paid anyone. So that's one of the questions I still have for Paulette. Is that required private security, or can we have our own security team? And I don't know the answer to that. Josh, do you know, did they pay someone or was that a volunteer? How did that work?
Sergio knows.
Okay.
What I was going to say for the financial part, definitely Josh is going to know that portion, but I do know the individual that was running security, Chris Trevino, is a police officer, and it is my understanding he was there as part of off-duty rotation with his own organization. Now, whether he was also compensated for that or not from our kingdom, Josh can speak to it, but it did work in our favor that we had a cop that wanted to volunteer his time.
I actually made an off-the-cuff comment to him that I hope we're paying him well, and his response with a big smile was, "Yeah, I got gate fee. It's all good. I'm happy to be here." So I don't think we compensated him other than letting him into the event free, but we probably should.
Yeah, but
yeah, that's what FOG pays gate fee. That was what his compensation was.
But he can't be on duty for 4 days straight, 24 hours a day. So we would need a team. And when they say uniform team, does that mean it has to be like a licensed security guard, or can it be security people wearing a t-shirt that says security guard? Is that a uniform team?
Yeah,
right?
Find out for sure.
Find out for sure.
Just as an aside, Constantine also is a licensed security officer. If you need another person, he's already expressed interest in possibly helping with that.
Okay. Well, excellent. We'll add him to our list of assets. All right. ANS, that's Memoria. I think he wants to, I mean, obviously he's going to have a budget. I don't know what classes he would want. I think he's going to try to find out what kind of classes people have an interest in. I personally think that secondary pavilion that we were not using, that's down closer to gate, would be good to set up ANS, but we may decide later that's a better place to have something else. But I have every full confidence in Memoria to put on some outstanding classes of a wide variety. Any questions on that? All right. Entertainment, we're known for our nightlife as well as our day life. So pub crawl and beer pong. Although I will say last night's beer pong was freaking awesome. I thought that was such a fun idea.
Thank you.
But yeah, we want to bring back the beer pong. We want to bring back the pub crawl. Now, whether I don't know that we'll do, I mean, I can't say right now what we'll look at the site, plan what is the best type of party to have for pub crawl, but we are known for that. That is one of our traditions. We definitely want to have those. And Brett has graciously volunteered to be our party crat. So, questions?
Not a question, a comment. I know you're driving. FT it has traditionally ran Margaritaville.
Right.
He posted to the Facebook site now. He knows that, bids are happening for Spring War. If you did win this bid, he would like to be part of running Margaritaville at the concession thing that we had yesterday.
Sounds perfect.
Just putting that there, as this is under entertainment ad hoc. If your bid is approved, you may want to sync with him, see what's happening.
I don't know that we would actually have him selling from the kitchen, because we're going to need the kitchen for prepping for food. And Gavin was the one in the kitchen. I don't know how well the kitchen will work for cooking and concessions at the same time. But again, Gavin, that's your venue. That's your purview. What do you think?
We definitely have lots of options as far as concessions. There's two areas immediately to the right and left of the kitchen, which considering bringing the very large Raider pavilions and making them either auxiliary concessions or auxiliary kitchen space. So the concession people would still be able to come into the kitchen area to prep, but we could have full-time concessions right there adjacent to the main kitchen. With the ample power and the ample space right near the kitchen area, I don't foresee any issues. In my opinion, this is 5 times the kitchen at almost any site I've seen in decades. So it's going to be a very good spot to work with.
And I think we accidentally skipped feast, but the Raiders, normally we budget $4,000, and that's for just meals on Friday, Saturday. And then we ask other groups to donate meals for Wednesday and Thursday. But the Raiders, if for an extra $500, they'll do all the meals. And so we don't have to go out and ask for any other donations or any other groups or organizations to come in and cook. The Raiders will just do the whole week.
Hey,
3 meals a day.
I know
snacks.
I know last Spring War, the feast budget's something that got blown real quick. How comfortable are you with this?
No,
no.
I did feast under budget. You can see both my spreadsheets in 2019 and 2020, or 2018 and 20, whatever the years were.
For the original budget that Megan had submitted, we ended up going way over and having to get approval at the BoD to get more funds, which wasn't a problem, but I just want to be realistic about it.
Well, now I'm confused with the number she gave
me.
Because...
I'm pretty. No, I don't think so. I mean, I've got my spreadsheets, and they were $4,000 both years. Is what it was from the start. Now, that may have been different than Megan's bid, and I told her after the fact, what did you do, I think, maybe?
Yeah. Her original bid was way under what we ended up
doing. Oh, that might be the case, and she maybe didn't properly consult with me, and I was like, no, it's $4,000 to do 9 meals, because I do Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, or breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
So if you're good, I'm good. I just wanted to make sure that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm good. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Both last Spring Wars, I came in like $39.95. Now I had to have some pickup donations to make all 9. But this year the Raiders. It's going to be our company service event, and we'll handle all 9 out of the main kitchen and knock it out of the park.
Okay, thanks. I feel better.
Okay. Can you please scroll down and see what's next after hospitality? I don't know what I wrote. I think it's just attendance. Yeah. Okay. Here comes the actual numbers in the table underneath. The porta potties were priced from an online website to a local vendor. I think it's called Red Dicks or something like that, which is probably not his name, but for some reason I'm thinking of, I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, there's a local vendor. That's where I got the prices for the porta potties, but I didn't actually get an actual quote or talk to them about the size of the trucks. So we did this proposal based on 450. We really think there'll be a lot more than that, but we always want to underrate how many people think or underestimate how many people we think are coming, and then be prepared for more, but not, hopefully it'll be just extra profit. So we usually get about 100 prepays at $35. We got to discuss as a board, do you want to still give a $5 discount for prepays, or do you want to, this event did not, and they still had a nice number of prepays. That's something we can come back to later.
I would
Then we
recommend
have
doing prepay discounts only for dues paid members, and
Okay.
just regular prepay for everybody else. But I think your numbers are way off here. Based on what I saw with Fog's event, I think prepay is going to be closer to 250, 300. Attendance at gates
Okay.
closer to 150.
Okay, well, the issue isn't so much if we are not offering a discount for anyone other than dues paid members, then it's not really the 35 versus 40 is where you have to worry about that. So we'll have to go back and look at the percentages and really calculate that out to make sure we have an accurate estimate of how much profit we'll make.
And
Again,
I would say the price at 40 is fine, and you can even make gate more. Amtgarders are notoriously bad about keeping up with inflation. I mean, quite honestly. And anytime you hear a counter argument, it's some old veteran like myself who's like, back in my day they were $10, and I'm like, well, yeah, milk was 98 cents a gallon too. So I mean, things change, right?
Right. That's another thing we can discuss is making it. We can raise the gate fee. It's. These are things that we need to think about.
I like the gate fee. I just think that the discount really should be for dues paid members.
Well,
Okay.
I like that idea. Here's something that concerns me. We just paid what, $35 for mid-rain
Yeah.
per person. There was a couple of meals provided. I don't like the price that it is right now. I think it should be higher. I think gate itself should be at least 50, and prepay should be 40.
Fries? Fries? Burger?
50 gate, I can see, right? The prepay stuff for dues paid, 45, whatever. I don't want to give more of a discount in event fees than the actual dues are worth.
Yeah, but I mean, Spring War is inner kingdom, right? So I get you're part of the CK, you get to have all those perks. That's great. But the prepay before you get to the event, that is nationwide. That's something a little discount should be provided to the people that drive across the nation, right? Fly across the nation. Having I think a $50 gate for a a 4-day event, and Gavin is saying right now, sorry if I get this wrong, Gavin or Jason, if it is approved with the Raiders, you can do $500 and promise 9 meals, right? That is something Clan never does, and it is also a huge 4-day event.
I can get behind all that as long as we add a day fee for Saturday for the folks that are only going to come out Saturdays, and we also need to have a child's fee. A discounted child, right?
Yeah, that's something that we need to have set in place. Now, I had reached out when I was writing my last bid. I reached out to some people from Nine Blades, some people from Neverwinter, and from Winter's Edge, and they also have like a feast ticket. So like you have to actually buy food there if you want to eat, or you
Well,
pay the feast ticket.
before we get into that midnight, um, I did like a really long expense study of all those options last year, and the complications it raised just did not work out for Amtgard.
I
It
agree.
becomes very complex, and menu planning becomes complex. And our current option is really the only option, unless we go all vendor and hire external vendors. Otherwise, food waste could become enormous, and the potential for losses is huge.
I agree. The only thing I would say is having a day pass for Saturday,
Yeah,
because a lot of people are not going to want to pay $50 when they're only coming Saturday,
sure.
and that should be easy enough to account in for your main meal Saturday. So
Yeah, yeah.
So do 50 main gate and then 35 for the Saturday pass and the child rate.
I don't know. You wouldn't drop it to 40. I just saying because what's the point of going to Spring War Wednesday, Thursday, or even Friday if I can get in for $15 less on Saturday and just randomly show up.
yeah, you're not wrong.
I say this as somebody who literally, whenever there was an option to day trip Spring War, I absolutely would not go until the very last day because it was cheaper, because I did nothing that the site offered me. I didn't consume any food. I didn't drink any of the drinks there. Everything was myself that I brought in for me. And I was allowed to play Amtgard at the expense of $25.
Yeah,
There are hundreds of players that think just like me.
yeah.
Um, Personally, I would like to see the event attendance fee jumped up to 50. Um, Prepay, you know, whatever y'all decide there, 40 or whatever. But the day fee should never drop below what the prepay was, my opinion.
I think a prepay of 20, or sorry, a day fee of 25 is more than reasonable. A $40 online prepay, a $35 for online dues paid with coupon or whatever, a $50 attendance gate, and a $25 day fee should be a reasonable approach to this event.
I agree. For the record, I am paying attention. I don't have much to add, but yes, I agree.
So and just thinking about that, if we do that, not saying that happened, but if you dropped it down to $25, then you have to slot your attendance gate number back over, because there are definitely going to be more people. They're going to wait around until they can pay less money.
There will be some people, absolutely, but we're also encouraging more people to come during that day, because there's people like Night Train who are not going to show up for the whole event. They're going to show up for Saturday, and that's it.
That's why I mentioned 35, because the bid already has it to make a profit if everybody just paid 35.
Right, exactly.
So if everybody just showed up Saturday paying 35, we still make a profit.
Okay, so
And
maybe
so everybody who paid
the day
$50 is just more.
maybe the day fee is 30. I mean, you could pay 30 and come Saturday, or you can pay 35 in advance and come the whole event, whatever.
And one thing we need to keep in mind, I mean, I don't know, speaking strictly with food, if you ate the food the last few years, but it was really good. $40, $50, you can't even eat for that at McDonald's over 4 days, let alone get into a campsite where you can play Amtgard. I mean, this as an event price is ridiculously low compared to every other thing you do in life.
I absolutely agree. That's why I think the number should be higher.
Yeah.
50 is fine. I wouldn't go over 50. You're starting to really price people out.
Sure. Well, yeah, perhaps. But I'm saying we
But yeah, a
shouldn't feel
family
bad
of
about the
4
50.
is $200. I get it. I get it.
I think we're getting a little sidetracked here, guys.
Yeah.
Like, we can always raise the price as we're getting closer to the event, but for the bid itself,
Can we make a motion to vote to move forward with this? Is there anything we're missing?
Well, I do want to say, added a $950 the ditch light. It's a Lone Star cost that. I wasn't familiar with the site. I didn't know what kind of lights we would need. Whatever fog set up seemed to work pretty well. I don't know if that was a fog light or if that was a site light, but I think I feel pretty comfortable taking that $950 line item off.
There was
So I would
one
not
light
take
that was
that
permanent,
$900
and
off.
Fog set up 2 other lights.
And we have one more CK owned light that we can also craft that just we didn't have time to do before the event. So we could add an additional compared to what you saw this weekend.
I think we move forward with the event and approve it. With obviously, there's some financial tweaks and small things.
Oh, it needs a lot of tweaking. I mean, obviously it needs tweaking, but I have every bit of confidence that Gavin and I will get it done. And then I just hope, I want y'all to feel confident in what we're doing. We do have a lot of questions. I'm not going to lie about that. There are some uncertainties that we never had to deal with Lone Star. But if we can use Nolte Island Park, we can make it work.
So just to be clear on the tweaking, because we've kind of ran into this before, won't get into that. The tweaking that I would feel comfortable with is that your overall price does not increase at a cost of the event.
Oh yeah, no, okay, that absolutely. If we need more money, everything that would need more money would have to be approved by the board. But if I take $50 from one budget that doesn't need it and move it to hydration that does, I don't think I need to come to you guys unless you tell me I need to.
No, you just go to the treasurer so that they can keep track of it and move funds around.
Right.
We did this last spring and it worked pretty well.
Right.
Right.
But no, if we have any unexceeded expenses, of course we'd have to come to you because I can't go spend $500 on something without your approval.
Let me find my spring war last year because I want to see where the expenses line up comparison. So I'm going to change my screen for a minute.
Yeah, well, I was going to say the other thing is I'm not talking about ad hoc expenses that you're not foreseeing. Is what I'm talking about is whenever the check gets cut to you as the autocrat, that's, not having a spring war in 2020 really set the Celestial Kingdom back. This one really good event still hasn't gotten us through our regular event of In Rain, and then we're gonna have I believe we're gonna have Spring War and then Mid Rain. I may be getting those dates backwards. Just from an overall stance, what I'm asking the board to take a look at is the number that is right here, right now. Is this something we're comfortable with? I understand it's a single event entry is bid, but is this a number realistically we're comfortable and can do?
I have the expense list from last Spring War 2020 I can pull up and share if y'all want, but just to give you an example, the expenses for last 2020 was almost 25 grand. Now, 5 of that was for the golf carts, and we obviously made all of that back.
How much of the expenses are due before the event, and how much of it will we be?
That was another thing I was going to bring up, Dad. That's another thing we need to understand is that in previous Spring Wars, we would use the cabin and rental money and golf cart rental money deposits as our seed money to purchase things that we needed to purchase in advance. And we obviously are not going to have that. So while I don't know what I don't know what the finances actually really look like right this minute, but we're going to have to understand that, and the Kratz are going to have to understand that if they spend money, we're going to be looking at more reimbursements than having the cash on hand to pay out front.
Well, so part of that 25,
I can do the entire $4,500 feast budget and then get reimbursed. I don't need it up front.
Well, that must be nice.
So part of the 25,000 in expenses for 2020, 10,300 of that was for the cabins and the golf carts. So if you don't take that into account, we really spent $14,000 in expenses for Spring War. So it's pretty close to what you've got budgeted.
Well, yeah, and again, but we don't have the event insurance in there, and I had not priced the shower trailer, so. Those are the two things I know are not on there, but we can take off the light, which is going to probably offset the event insurance. It's the main question is the shower trailer, which I would have to come back to you guys to look at that anyway. I can't put that in there without your approval.
So, at this point, what if we approved as a board an expense up to 14,000 total? We should come well under that, but that way we don't have to come back and board approves 300 more, 300 more, etc.
I'm certainly comfortable with that. I feel like the recent event has shown us that this should be successful enough to cover it all, and we'll just have to work with the CRAT team to make sure that we have everything that we need beforehand and tweak things as we go if we don't have the funds for things that we need up front.
So, Amy, understanding that we're not encouraging you to spend up to the full 14,000, but that way we have.
Oh no, I understand. I want to do things as cheaply as possible. Yes, I agree.
So the question I have is, as of right now, we don't have $14,000.
We worry about that afterwards, midnight.
Okay.
There's going to be a lot of
this.
prepay.
Well, midnight. The site is one of the largest fees, but that only requires a $500 deposit.
Okay, yeah. So because I'm looking over the things that you had here, and having to figure out what needs to be paid before, and then what can be done on reimbursement after all those funds come in. It's like we need to make sure that everything that is before is what we actually can afford.
Exactly.
Good.
I think we should move forward with an approval for a budget up to 14,000.
Yeah, I think that that's reasonable. I'm happy with that. Seconded.
Hey, Brandon, you still there?
And that's with the understanding that we're going to possibly do a ticket price increase and do parking passes.
Yes.
As extra sources of revenue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a motion to approve 1,400, right? 14,000. $14,000 by Jason Paulette, seconded by Bethany McCormick. Move to vote. Monarch.
Yes.
Prime Minister.
Aye.
Regent.
Yes, approved.
President.
Aye.
Membership.
Yes.
Treasurer.
Aye.
And me as secretary will I vote. It'll pass unanimously.
Woo! Go team.
Amy, I'm going to send you an Excel spreadsheet from 2020 that has basically every prepay transaction, every expense, everything, just so you can kind of correlate and make sure that your stuff's lining up, or if you have questions on something you might not have thought about.
That would be great, because then that gives me actual research to go in and break down and see real costs. That's a fantastic thing. Thank you.
Josh, you have this as well, but I'm going to resend it to you just so you've got it fresh. But this is how I kept track of everything when I picked up Treasury from you, and it's based on the document I think you even started creating, but there's a lot of Excel references that are pulling summaries and everything, so this is a good way to keep track.
Sure.
Amy, I don't remember your email address.
My email address has not changed yet from school. It's still abaker@lfcisd.net.
What was your Valley? Never mind, Valley Aggie 94, right?
That's my personal one, but I don't check it as often. So you can send it to both. But if you tell me you're going to send it to Valley Aggie, I'll look for it. But again, I tend not to check my personal one as much as my work one.
Yeah, I'm telling you that I'm sending it to your Valley Aggie. So.
Okay, well, good. Okay, I'll remember that.
The other thing is I personally own springwar.com. So
I love you. And I would like Fogg to do our promotion. I haven't had a chance to talk to him about it, but I think he's really good at it.
Yeah, that video was nice, huh?
I did talk to Fogg yesterday, and he is more than willing. We're probably even going to have a drone pilot come out and do actual drone footage of the actual site, flying through all the trees and the feast area and over the field.
What a fantastic idea that is.
So he's into it, and we're on top of it.
Well, I'll have springboard.com reference over to
I love you, Torque. You're awesome.
Hey, once I found out that Margot let it slip and expire, I jumped on that and bought it personally so that I could.
Yay!
Okay.
What does that run? 50 or 100?
That's like $20 a year.
Oh, that is
that's
not bad at all. Well, the
Yeah.
reason why I'm asking is because I understand and I appreciate you purchased it. That may be something later on the board may want to bring up and see if we could.
Yeah, I don't know that I
Purchase
want
it
to
from-
sell it to the board. I don't know that I want to sell it.
Okay. I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, you clearly did something that the board didn't take advantage of.
Yeah.
This is the opportunity to set the price.
Yeah, I don't want to take advantage of the board either, but I'm just gonna hold on to it for now.
Sounds
If I quit Amtgard or something, we'll talk about that for sure.
All right, sounds good. Are we? I mean, do we need to talk about anything else? I think we can just motion to close at this point. If not,
I motion to
No?
close.
cool. Motion to close.
Seconded.
Second.
Great, amazing. All right. Good meeting. Go team.
Gotta do a quick vote, I think, for the closure.
Yep, got to do a vote. Jason called for it. Bethany seconded. Now we're waiting on the vote.
Okay.
Monarch,
There we go.
I abstain.
Regent,
I vote yes.
Prime Minister,
Aye.
President,
Aye.
membership,
Yes.
Treasurer,
Yes.
and I, as Secretary, will abstain, but it will pass with 5 yeses and 2 abstains.
Sounds good. All right.
Bethany called for
Closed.
a meeting adjourning.
Meeting adjourned.